Hey guys, this is Chad Gallagher. I'm one of the co-founders here at SlateHouse Property Management, and I want to talk to you through what is one of the very sensitive things we do here, but incredibly important, and that is handling evictions. So, as a property management company, it's super important, obviously, that tenants pay rent on time, and if they don't, we need to file an eviction. It's actually one of the huge benefits of working with a property management company, in particular one who's been doing this for a long time, is that we know how to file evictions properly. So I want to kind of talk you through what to expect and how we do it. So here at SlateHouse, rent's due on the 1st. If a tenant hasn't paid rent yet, I'd say right around the 5th or 6th of the month, and up until even the 15th of the month, they're going to hear from the prime manager 2 to 3 times through emails, phone calls, texts, basically just saying, hey, look, you haven't paid rent yet, please pay rent. We definitely do not want to have to evict you. We make paying rent really easy. Tenants can pay rent online. They can mail us in rent through our P.O. box, or they can usually drop it off at our office. We don't accept cash is one thing we don't, but even if they want to pay in cash, they can even do that at a local 7-Eleven or CVS. So we make it really easy to pay rent, and we say, please pay your rent on time, but if they haven't, on the 16th of the month, 15th or 16th, we're going to actually file an eviction. So we have kind of a no excuse mindset here at SlateHouse. So rather than playing judge and jury, we try to keep it really simple. If you haven't paid rent yet, we're going to unfortunately file an eviction. We never want to have to do that, but we usually kick that off on the 16th of the month and file the eviction. Next, we'll actually go into court on your behalf. And we will essentially win the judgment for you that allows us to actually then file for the lockout of the property. We've been doing this for a long time, so a lot of experience in kind of working with judges and kind of knowing how that whole process should work. We're also super organized, so having a very standard lease really helps us in this process. A lease that's been around now for, probably tens of thousands of tenants have used our lease. So those kinds of processes really help us in court, as opposed to someone who's maybe doing a one-off and has a kind of handwritten lease, right? It just doesn't go quite as well with the judge as our process. Very standardized ledger that we can kind of print off from AppFolio and present to the judge. Once we've won, then there's usually about a 10-day period you have to wait, and then you can actually file the lockout. Once we file the lockout, the day of the lockout, we'll actually attend, and we'll also have our maintenance tech there too. Now look, this is super important. Just because we filed the eviction on the 16th, I would say something like 85% of the time, the tenants actually pay their rent. So if the tenant hasn't paid their rent, don't freak out that necessarily we're going to have an eviction. Many times, tenants will actually pay, and we just use this eviction process as a way to kind of force the tenant to pay. And we want to move forward through that process as fast as possible to essentially get them paying rent again. If we do have to have a lockout, our maintenance tech will be there, and we will actually change the locks the day of the lockout, and then we'll also do a walkthrough of the property and kind of give you a sense of what needs to be changed to get a new tenant in there. Typically, there is a short period we have to wait to give the tenants some time to remove their belongings, but then we will kind of, once the belongings are removed, or that time has passed by, we'll move forward in kind of getting that unit rent ready for you. You'll get a rent estimate from us of kind of what needs to be done, and we'll act to get it as fast as possible rented for you. So the other thing that kind of keeps evictions down is obviously our screening on the front end of this. So trying to do a really good job of making sure we're putting in tenants who are a good fit for the property. Definitely big impact on decreasing evictions long term. And then the other thing that just helps is just moving through this process. It sounds crazy, but the more organized you are, and the quicker you move through the process, tenants know you're not playing around. Tenants going to have to pay rent, or they're going to get kicked out, and usually tenants kind of fall in line and will move forward with paying. 2 more things I want to talk about in this process. One is legal counsel. So we do have legal counsel. We work with a lawyer in each state who we do a lot of work with and are able to kind of keep those legal costs down as much as possible if we do have to use a lawyer. That does come up every once in a while. if maybe a tenant appeals or there's some really strange situation. Also, some states in certain instances do require a lawyer to appear at the hearing if it's an LLC. So in those cases, we do have a legal counsel who we work with who specializes in landlord-tenant law. We've worked with a lot, and because we've done a lot of business to them, their pricing is much lower than if you were to kind of call them off the street. Last thing, and this is a really huge benefit of SlateHouse, no eviction fees for you, the owner. So there's a lot of work in this process of kind of working through everything, but nowhere in there do we actually have any fees for evictions that you're paying, which I think is really nice. It's just part of us being your management company, and hopefully it's a part that we don't have to actually go through for you. But if we do, if you invest long enough, it's bound to happen. We have to file on someone. It's a process we've done before and are hugely accountable and really good at kind of handling things exactly the way they should be handled. And again, I'll say it's just a huge benefit of working with a company like SlateHouse. Is, if you're managing it yourself, it get really tricky. It gets emotional. You know the tenant. Maybe you don't want to file an eviction. Whereas we can kind of stick to our processes and just work all the way through. I think tenants actually really respect that. It goes a long way. So I hope this is helpful, kind of shedding some light on how the eviction process works if you've never heard it before, or how we do things here at SlateHouse. Thanks.